On this episode of the Tech Talk, we're going to go over the importance of physical media in a digital age. Let's get into it. So, in an age of digital everything, it is rare to see physical media now being used nowadays when it comes to media consumption. We're seeing so many streaming services, digital versions of movies and TV shows that you can rent or buy, and it has seen a huge impact on the physical media industry. Once upon a time in the early 2000s, physical media was the way to go, whether it was VHS, DVD, and then later on Blu-ray when that came out. And so when I was looking at the statistics, I was really shocked at just how significantly physical media has declined. I knew it was bad and I knew it was a huge decline, but it really shocked me. In 2008, about 90% of movie and TV show purchases were physical, whether it was Blu-ray, DVD, VHS, and 10%, give or take, was digital. But today, in 2025, that has flipped. Now we're talking about 90% approximately digital and 10% physical media or otherwise. And so there has been this huge change in how people consume their media and their content. And part of that is that there's this convenience that comes with streaming or digital purchases. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to go to a physical store. You don't have to pick out your movies. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to spend that travel time to do that. You can now, because the internet is so fast and so quick and downloads are so, they're very, it's just super speed. It's so much faster than we've ever had before. It makes it easy to just get the content immediately from the comfort of your home. That also applies into the gaming industry as well. We're seeing also that same decline in physical video game media. In the 80s and 90s, it was cartridges, and then later on CDs, and then we now have digital downloads where you can buy your games online, and they're always running sales and everything. And PC gaming has done the same thing as well. They used to have physical CDs you would put into your computer to run the games, but now it's nearly all digital. So we're seeing a huge change in what ownership means and what it means to own something because to me, physical media is the ultimate way to showcase that you own something. It's a way to showcase, hey, this is my product. I bought this. I can use it however I want. And in this generation, with everything being on smartphones digitally, with everything being just all digital media, you don't really see that ownership anymore. In fact, a lot of these companies now, what they do is instead of selling the movies to you, they can actually license your capacity to actually watch the movie. So, in a sense, you don't actually really own the movies anymore. You just own the license to watch the movies whenever available. And speaking of available, they have control over when they can pull the movies and whether they can alter or edit it. They find something that they think is either offensive or, you know, they edit it because of certain concerns for content. So there's this lack of ownership now that comes with all these digital movies and TV shows and games for that matter that physical media doesn't have an issue with. And there's so many advantages to physical media. There's a long longevity of it. There's the fact that you can get it whenever you want and you're not at the mercy of the internet. You can put in your media into your device and you can start playing that uh, physical movie or TV show right away. Video games is kind of shaky because unfortunately a lot of game developers are now making online a requirement even with physical media. And thankful we haven't seen that yet when it comes to movies and TV shows on media, but I wouldn't be surprised if that ends up coming soon one day. So hopefully we'll not see that, but that is a concern that I have. So the media industry analyst group, Digital Entertainment Group, they released their annual U.S. home video revenue report, and the results are shocking. So overall spending actually rose by 21% compared to 2023 year over year. But now here's the kicker: the way it breaks down is just incredible. Subscription streaming specifically accounted for 91.3% of all revenue spent in 2024 for video consumption. On that same note, only 1.7% of that revenue came from physical product sales and rentals. So we truly are seeing an incredible decline in physical media. And that's such a bummer because it's great to own something. It's great to have something that belongs to you. You can't be taken away. And so that really bothers me. I really wanted to not really rant about this, but just really express, to you guys that are used to digital renting or are used to just subscription. Look at the numbers. Think about what you're spending. The cost of buying and owning a lot of this content is likely long term way cheaper than the initial low cost of renting or a subscription that you pay monthly that seems low but can add up over time. And I want to use an example. So I own, for example, the Daniel Craig James Bond collection. And so I got this on Amazon. It had a sale, and so I ordered it. And it's got all five movies. It's on 4K Blu-ray. They also gave me a Blu-ray disc for each of them as well, and also a digital code if I wanted to redeem that as well. And so when I bought it, it was $34.99 before tax, and that was for all five movies. And so, in prep for this video, I wanted to see what it would cost today if I wanted to rent those same movies on digital or purchase them digital and see what the cost was. And you're not going to believe this. So, the cost of renting it on average for all five movies would have been about 1945 before tax. So probably 20, depending on your state, between 21 to $23, give or take, because each rental was about $3.79. This was on Amazon Prime, because now that Amazon owns the James Bond franchise, I think it's exclusively primarily through them that you can get streaming some of those movies. But when I checked, actually, it looked like I had to pay for them as opposed to streaming them. So there you go. That speaks to the whole control situation that I was talking about specifically. And then if you wanted to purchase these movies, and I use air quotes when I say purchase, each movie is $14.99. So multiply that by five, and you're talking $74.99 for digital copies of these movies. And not even all of them are in 4K. Only some of them are available to stream in 4K. And so when you compare that against $34.99 that is physical and can't be taken away or can't be removed, the value proposition is right there. Even though renting is cheaper at $19.45, you don't get access to it after 48 hours once you start playing the video. And so you throw away 20 something dollars to watch these movies once, maybe twice in a 2 day period, versus paying a little bit more, about $10, $15 more, to not only get physical copies, but get two physical copies, and you get to keep them and watch them whenever you want, as many times as you want. And so I know that that's not always the case in terms of numbers with a lot of these movies and shows. You have to look for sales and be a little bit savvy, but I think it's worth it, because the cost long term is just way ridiculous nowadays when it comes to what it takes to being able to watch these movies or find a series of movies that you like, or a specific movie in general that you like. And so I really encourage you guys that if you've been thinking about getting movies and shows, but you're always tempted to go digital because it's just so quick and convenient, think about the long term costs. Think about how easy it would be to just order these movies, whether it's on Amazon or going to your local video store. You could find great deals that way, and you get to keep and you own them. And then you can watch them whenever you want. Same thing with TV shows as well. I don't have too many TV shows on physical. I want to get them. A lot of seasons kind of add up over time cost wise, but even that is still lower than buying them digitally on most of your streaming providers and services. And so I really think that physical media needs to make a comeback in some way, because really the sense of ownership has really declined over the years. I like to own my content. I like to own my movies and TV shows and games for that matter. And so same thing in the gaming realm. Now I will admit that there's a lot of good deals that come on the digital storefronts in the gaming realm. See that a lot, especially on platforms like Steam, for example, and sometimes Sony and Microsoft, they do a lot of special sales on our digital copies of their games, and it can be tempting. I've seen them as low as $5. But at the end of the day, it's still digital. And they could remove it, they could turn off the servers, they can make it where you can't access it anymore because the online capacity has been removed from it. And so I still think it's of great value to go and find physical copies of video games as well and be able to play them that way natively. I would say out of all the platforms, Nintendo is probably the last bastion of physical media where you can just pop in a game and it just plays. You don't have to download something, you don't have to download an update, you don't have to go through all that hassle. So something to consider when looking at ways to preserve physical media. So I just wanted to get this off my chest because it just makes me really sad to see the decline of media. I think there's so much out there that is still available, thankfully, and a lot of companies are still producing physical media. So I don't think it's dead, but it certainly is dying, and that's really concerning. I know that recently Best Buy and I believe Walmart as well will soon are beginning to have stopped carrying physical media. So that shows you that just that dying decline that we're seeing of physical media. And so that's why I go to Amazon or I check local video stores and places like that to see if I can find some good deals, because I like owning what I want to watch and having it whenever I want to, and not being at the mercy of online in any capacity. So thanks for hearing my thoughts on this. I really am passionate about being able to own my things and just being able to have that control. It's getting tougher these days to be able to own your things, and so it's always good when there's still that outlet where you have the ability to do that. So, what do you guys think about physical media? Do you think that's something that should make a comeback, or should that just go away? Do you just guys prefer digital ownership, and that's just where it has to be, and we just have to get over it? I'm curious about your thoughts, so leave a comment below. And if you enjoyed this video and just thinking about what I was talking about and just wanting to chat about it, leave a like on there, and then also hit that notification bell as well, and subscribe to my channel so that when new videos come out, you'll get notified about them as well. And as I continue to bring more topics about the tech world, I'm excited to share with you guys on all that stuff. So thanks again for coming to my tech talk today, and I look forward to sharing the next video with you guys. So until then, you take care.